let's continue. This will be clip 3, I believe. But you can also take note that I'm not going to skip forward. When I pause, you'll be able to see by the cursor at the bottom here. You can see the cursor at the very bottom of the screen that I'm going to continue from like the 15-30 minute mark. 15 minutes, 30 seconds. We're going to continue here with Kudima.
What does Wikipedia say? Let's see. What did Wikipedia say? Actually, let's just go. So, guys, if you're clueless to what I'm talking about, if you're clueless to what Morris Science is, or Morris Science follower is, or Drew Ali, or any treaties, or this specific treaty, the Moroccan-American Treaty of Peace and Friendship from 1786, let's have some context. Let's learn about it. Let's read it, right? Hold on, guys. Oh, I wasn't meant to do that. My fault. Okay.
Just remember that the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with true context is not a Moorish Science Temple of America document. It was put out in 1787, the Moorish Science Temple. The Canaanite Temple was first established in 1913, on the scene in 1911, established in 1913. Drew Ali was a part of another organization before that in the early 1900s. But the first one on record was the Canaanite Temple, 1911, established 1913 to 1917. Then 1917 was the Holy Temple of Science, of Moorish Science, Holy Temple of Science, Canaanite Temple. Holy Temple of Science was in several locations throughout the world. It was in India, it was in Mexico. Drew Ali taught in India. And I believe there was another nation, I can't remember now, that he was in. But then after that, he came back and he started the Moorish Science Temple in Newark, New Jersey, and then he moved to Chicago. So 1911 is when the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement, all that began, 1911. We'll say early 1900s, but really 1911. So the Treaty of Peace and Friendship goes back to 1787, so I don't know how he's saying it's a Moorish document. It's a Moorish Science Temple document. It's not. He's lying. So let's go.
But this is in the founders.archives.gov. We're going to read it ourselves first. Okay? We're going to read it ourselves first. Watch me turn this on. Like, watch how funny this is. Listen. Hey, lead tab. See, this is what I'm saying, guys. Hold up.
Let's kind of move forward here. He's playing around here.
Players, whatever you want to call it. We're not talking about anything else, right? No, you don't got no primary sources. We're linking the Ottoman Empire with Washita Moor Empire, okay?
Let's go back, okay?
1986.
I'm trying to not skip over anything, people. So excuse me, it's going to be rough, but we have to do this because you all need to hear what he's doing. I just showed you what he did with putting up the image. Based off his own work, he knows that's not a white man. But anyway, let's go back. I don't want to skip over nothing, and y'all can say, "Oh no, the brother skipped over something." Let's go back.
I believe we don't do that here, Lee Tab. Okay, this is what I'm trying to explain, and you're a great example of that. A lot of the people in this movement, they're not very historical research people. They just follow.
Nigga, what?
He's talking about in the Moorish Science Temple. They're not historical research people. They just follow. Let's go.
Believe what they hear, and then they spread it like it's a fact.
They believe what they hear, and they spread it like it's a fact. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of Moors, has so many different groups, so many different ideologies, so many different philosophies. They all don't agree with each other. So the one thing is with the Moors is once they find out things are not what they thought or incorrect, or somebody's teaching something that isn't true or shouldn't, a lot of times people move and they start their own thing. That's pretty good when it comes to finding out who's lying and you want to move away from them. So he just said they're not researchers. They repeat what they hear, and just spew it, blindly follow. Let's go. Let's continue.
We're talking about a specific thing, right? In 1786, between two nations, corporations, right? Kingdoms, whatever you want to see it, empires, whatever you want to call it.
Nations, corporations, kingdoms, empires. It was between a company, a U.S. company, which was known as a Union State Society. It was a company of Europeans using their nationality on paper, starting a company to do business. It was between a company and a sovereign nation. And the company, as in any business, is going to have to pay tribute to that sovereign nation. You're going to have to pay. If you want our protection, whatever you make, you're going to pay a percentage. You're going to pay tribute. Let's go.
We're not talking about anything else, right? Whatever you want to say, oh, it was here, it was there. Just show me the primary sources. And the whole Washita Moore thing, I have a whole series on the Washita Moors, 4 videos. Lee Tab, if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
He has 4 videos on the Washita Moors, and I did watch 2 complete videos. They were both 2 hours long. He's trying to discredit the Washita's battle for which is initially the Louisiana Purchase, which he doesn't know that the Louisiana Purchase was initially only them allowing trade to participate on a road leading to a courthouse and a Masonic lodge. It was passageway between those two, and to conduct trade or business on that road only. That is what the Louisiana Purchase was. It wasn't the territories. They lied. They later on said it was all this territory and land, and they lied. It wasn't. His video on the Washita, he's citing the Southern Poverty Law Center as a source in one of his videos. He's citing known agencies and government agencies and individuals that were knowingly working to go against the case that the Washita filed under George H.W. Bush, which was the previous empress before Bernice Gaston L. And I may have to go get something and show it to you on the Washita's case. They won that case, by the way. The information he provided to you on the Washita, he's also reading from known government informants. He's reading their statements. Those people today are sitting on $500,000 because of what happened then. They were known informants. I sent him a message in one of his videos saying your sources are all tainted. You're using government sources and you're using informants in your information. I don't agree with everything the Washita did, but I'm not going to lie on them. He was blatantly using misinformation and government informants' information. He didn't use anything from the independent journalist that did the information on the Washita, from Xavier College, from, I believe, Auburn College in Alabama, as far away as Alabama. There were a few people in Oklahoma that were looking into the Washita's information, at claiming that they owned land exceeding all the way up from Louisiana all the way north into Canada. He didn't look into any thing from any independent journalist that concluded that their cases were correct. They were right, that they had the documents. Now, was there infiltration into the Washita? Absolutely. So all he's dealing with is the infiltration, the government agents, the sovereign citizen movement, which the word sovereign citizen is a contradiction and it's an oxymoron. There's no such thing. Either you're sovereign or you're citizen. You can't be both. So the fact that he says this later on, sovereign citizen, means he doesn't know law. There's a lot we thought that Kudima knew that he didn't know, or if he does know, he's a fucking agent when it comes to all things Moorish and Moorish science. So his information on the Washita, he doesn't give you any primary sources other than the sources that the government were using to prosecute them. That was about land. Unlike this treaty, which is about commerce, this is not about land. He's going to confuse you, making you think it's about land when this is about commerce. This is not a land cession treaty. Cession with a C. This is about commerce with a C. His information on the Washita is absolutely horrible. It is some of the worst stuff I watch, and I don't agree with the Washita. I don't agree with some things they do. But I'm not going to lie on them because I don't agree with them. I'll tell you what I don't agree with if you contact me personally. We can go over all that. But the case was won. They were awarded 672, from my memory, 672 acres back. That wasn't even 1% of what they initially owned. They won the case under George H.W. Bush. Let's go.
Yeah, you don't got no primary sources for that. I already know that. I already know you don't got no primary sources for linking the Ottoman Empire with Washita Moor Empire, okay? Because I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
You don't have any primary sources for linking the Ottoman Empire to the Washita because the Ottoman comes from the Ottomangian. The Ottomangian tribe, the Washita territory, extended all the way at one time into Florida. The Ottomangian Indian nation out of Florida. That's what he's talking about. Kudima does not have a context. He hasn't established a context yet. He doesn't know about a lot of indigenous nations in the Americas other than what he reads. He can't even give you any oral confirmation. Oral confirmation is what the indigenous nations dealt with. Oral confirmation. The stories passed down from generation to generation. That's why he doesn't know. But that Moore just knew about the Ottomans' connection to other indigenous nations here. Mangian, the Ottomangian. Here's a reference for you. His name is Dr. Nargo Larco. I don't agree with him on everything either. But he will give you a lot of references in books concerning what I just mentioned, the Ottoman Empire, Ottomangian, being here initially, as Morocco was here, as France was here, as ancient Egypt was here. Kudima is not one who knows as he claims to be. Let's continue.
That doesn't even make sense, man.
See that? Doesn't make sense to him.
Go watch my video, man. All 4 parts. Not just part 1. Go watch all 4 parts. All right? Somebody share the link with him. Please.
Go watch my videos. That's arrogance. That's extreme arrogance. So when someone presents new information to you, you need to ask them questions. Like, hey, I ain't never heard that. Where you get it from? Can you show me where you got it from? Instead of saying you don't have no sources, you don't know what the fuck he has. He's coming to you with new information, something you haven't heard. If anybody got new information for me, man, hit me up. I gave you my email address. Hit me up, give it to me. I'm all ears. I want to know where you got it, how I can make the connections. I'm not going to tell you it's not a primary source before I even looked at it. That's arrogance. That's egotistical. Those are the traits in the mind state of a foreigner that's not from this territory. Arrogance, egotism. Arrogance, egotism. No respect, no honor, no dignity, no morality. I'm beginning to question where this Kudima gentleman is really from. I'm really beginning to question that, the way he's dealing with people. When it comes to Moors, though, the organization that was teaching people they're not black, Negro, and colored on record for over 150 years now. The ones telling you you're not black, Negroes, and colored. That you're from the Americas and other places, but you ain't black, Negroes, and coloreds. Teaching you that you have a nationality. He has a problem with the oldest organization on paper that was teaching you you're not black, Negroes, and coloreds. Puerto Ricans aren't black people, Negroes, and coloreds. South Americans, they're not black, Negroes, and coloreds. The Moore Science Temple has been teaching that. Before Kudima was ever around, or anybody, his mom and his daddy. Let's go.
Link with him, I have the playlist, Washita Moors.
Washita Moors.
Somebody share the link with him. All right, let's not talk about that and go off topic. Again,
By the way, the word Washita is from the word Ausha, which means Asia. We were also known as Asiatics. America was also known as the Orient at one time. You've heard the phrase the Asiatic black man from Elijah Muhammad. That goes back, of course, not black, but the Asiatic goes back to the Washita teachings and the Moorish Science Temple teachings. The word Ausha is another way of saying Asia. Wichita, Kansas is named after the Washita. Oshita, that's Oshita. Kansas. Oshita, Kansas. I'll give you the definition of Kansas, I believe, in the video called, it might be in What is a Moor, M-O-O-R, M-U-U-R, 1. What is a Moor 1 on YouTube. I think I give you the definitions of some original territories in the Americas, and I have that too in writing if you need to see something in writing on paper. I have it. I haven't heard Kudima give anybody any definitions of any territories. Let's go. But he also said in one of his other videos, Washita is not an ancient word. Get the fuck out of here. There's a mountain range that goes, I believe, from, it's in Tennessee and Arkansas, known as the Washita Mountain Range. Going back to the territory of the Washita. Even his last name, Washington, the name Washington comes from out of the Wasso, or the Washita, because he was actually using another name. This was not even really his name. He was using this to try and connect him to peoples in the America. Now, he may have been connected to them because a lot of Europeans were really trying to come back to do business. They left or were contracted to go other places, and they were trying to come back. Some of their children were trying to come back to where they were originally from to do business and everything else. But the name Washington also goes back to the Washoe or the Washita. That's a whole nother video. And I'm just this Kudima guy, man. Let's go.
I'm allowing people that does not subscribe to be able to chat.
Here we go.
And as you already see, that person's definitely not subscribed, Lee Tab.
I'm allowing people that's not subscribed to be able to chat. So he's saying he wants to chat. And remember this as we get towards the end of the video when he starts blocking people. When they are responding to him and he starts blocking people. And his moderators start blocking people. Let's go.
You wouldn't be saying that silliness because you really haven't watched my videos then. You must be like very, very, very brand new. Let's not do beliefs. It's my belief. It's my biased belief that I don't believe. You try to know. Okay, well, you haven't watched enough, right? Or you haven't done your own proper research on certain things, right? So we try to stay away from biases and beliefs, like following just beliefs.
You hear that? We try to stay away from biases and beliefs, just following. Let's go.
He said it is believed. It is believed that the author, you didn't say it's a fact, okay? We try to talk facts here, so let's talk facts, right? Let's get on. All right. So it says the Founders Online Archive.government. So there's a government website, right? This is a transcript of the treaty. Obviously, the original from 1786 looks a lot different, and I actually have that. I have that book somewhere that has the original treaty.
He said he has the book that has the original treaty, and he says it looks a lot different. So the original treaty is in a book? Remember when we talk about primary sources. He says he has the original in a book. But he's going to read something. He's going to read here, the online version.
Message!
Let's go here.
From the 1700s. All right, so it's the weird writing. You know, it's much easier to read right here.
Okay, he says it's weird writing. It's weird writing. Why don't you read the weird one to us so we can see if anyone out there that's listening to your channel would know what some of the words mean or give us information on what the original means. He is now reading a copy of a translated document that wasn't even written in English. It was written in an old version of Arabic. It was also written in 3 other languages. One of the languages, Kufic, in Maghrabian, was spoken in the Americas. So it was translated in Arabic, I believe Kufic, and the other one was Maghrabian, or Mughrabian. The Maghrib, the Mardi Gras, to make the connections. Phonics and frequencies of words, people. But it was written in Arabic, it wasn't written in English. So he's claiming that this is a primary source. He only deals with facts, but he's reading you a translated copy online that's written in English. But he says he has the original version in a book. You have the original one in a book. I didn't know they put it in a book. Let's continue here, and we're going to take a break in a few seconds here and come back.
So we're going to read it just to have a little bit of context, all right?
Context.
I wasn't even planning to read the whole thing. I was just going to go straight to ChatGPT, get to the point, but let's have context.
Let's have context. Context is something that you were supposed to give about 10 minutes ago before you started to tell everybody what was happening in the background. He has not given any context, and he's about to start reading it. Let's read it to get context. He doesn't know what the context of it is. He's never given any. He doesn't give any. He's going to start reading, and he doesn't give any context. What is context? What was happening in the background? What was happening in the background was there was a company that was started by Union State Societies, and they were attempting to do trade on certain coastlines, not the high seas, coastlines. And pretty much they were getting harassed, and they were getting stopped and shut down. They were getting seized by other nations and other nations and nationalities of indigenous peoples. Knew they were not supposed to be where they were, so they were getting seized and stopped and harassed. They were attempting to do business. They didn't know the parameters of who owned what and where to operate. They got tired of getting harassed and shut down. You're dealing with a group of men from Europe that were now, their families had been contracted to do work in the Americas. Specifically, this area we're talking about is going to be the Caribbean. It's kind of played out in the Pirates of the Caribbean. We're going to get to that later. They were being harassed and bullied about business. They were trying to do business, but they were trying to do it the wrong way. They weren't going about it the right way. That's the context. So they needed to go to the people who were governing and dominating, and the people who had all of the other nations in alignment when it came to how business and commerce would be conducted on the coastlines in these areas. They went to the big dogs to get protection and direction, and to be schooled on how to conduct commerce in these areas. I just gave you the context of what was happening. People from Europe, not all of them, all of these people were not from Europe, but there were primarily ones who were. They had a little bit of money. They started companies. They started various companies to do business in coastal areas. Those companies now were backed by their nationalities as an Englishman or an Irishman or a Scot. They used their nationalities to include the nations that they were representing as businessmen to do business. Even though they wasn't breaking them all off, they were just doing that. So that's the context. And they went to the Sultan for protection. I just gave you context. We'll come back later and proceed.